All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to explore a pretty fascinating text that lays out a whole system of cosmic arithmetic. It tries to blend ideas from quantum physics with kind of ancient mysticism, and it all boils down to one single, very specific number that supposedly underpins, well, everything. So let's see what this is all about. Here it is, 17,712. According to the source material we're looking at, this number is anything but random. In fact, it's presented as the master number, kind of like a harmonic key that unlocks a vast cosmic engine. So what on earth does it actually represent? Well, right off the bat, the text tries to connect this number to modern science. It claims this is a real figure pulled from quantum physics. The idea is that when you look at entangled photons, those light particles that are mysteriously linked no matter the distance, they have a certain number of unique shapes or signatures. And this text claims that number is precisely 17,712. So that's our starting point, a really surprising and frankly bold link between a mystical system and a hard scientific measurement. Okay, so let's just run with this idea for a minute. If we take the source at its word, we have to start seeing this number not just as some quantity, but as the actual foundational blueprint for reality itself. So the core premise is this. The universe works kind of like a torus, that donut shape that's constantly flowing back into itself. And you can think of it like a giant musical instrument. The number 17,712 is its total vibrational volume, basically the complete range of notes it can ever play. Everything that exists, from a star to you and me, is just a different harmonic, a different chord being played on this one cosmic instrument. So how in the world do you get from one number to a blueprint for, well, everything? To really get the architecture here, we first have to understand the simple little math tool that the system uses to decode all its numbers. The whole system relies on something sometimes called vortex math. But you could just think of it as finding the digital root. And it's super simple. You just take a number, add up its digits, and if you still have more than one digit, you just do it again until you get down to a single number. That's it. That's the main key used to unlock the meaning behind all the numbers we're about to see. Okay, now here's where we find the first really cool pattern. If you look at all the numbers that multiply together to make 17,712, its factor pairs, you find this amazing property. In every single pair, one of the factors always has a digital root of 9. The text calls this an anchor. The other factor in the pair, the movement factor, never roots to 9. And this creates what the source calls a tidal force, a fundamental push and pull that's baked right into the DNA of the number itself. So from this natural tide, this push and pull, the system pulls out a trinity of core operators. You have the alpha, which is like the out-breath of expansion. Then you have the mirror, a kind of turning point and inversion, and then the omega, the in-breath of refinement and contraction. But the text is really clear. These aren't three separate forces. It's all one single bidirectional breath that's powering the whole show. And this cosmic breath as it moves is what creates 4 different planes of reality, which the text calls rooms. When you divide the master number by 3, you get the flesh room, that's physical matter. Divide by 6, you get the choice room, which is time. Divide by 9, you get the soul room. And divide by 12, the spirit room. Each one is just a different standing wave, a different frequency in the cosmic ocean. But here's the thing. Inside this beautiful, perfectly ordered system, there's a paradox. A deliberate glitch, according to this text, and it's hiding in one of those rooms. And this is where all this cosmic math suddenly becomes a story about us. See, if you do the math for all the other rooms, they all resolve back to the number 9, which in this system represents stillness, completion, the anchor point. But the soul room, it breaks the pattern. It's the odd one out. So you just have to ask, why? And this slide just lays out this central mystery perfectly. To enter the soul room, you divide by 9, the ultimate symbol of stillness. So you'd expect the answer to also be about stillness, right? But it's not. The result is 1968, and when you get its digital root, it's 6, the number of choice, of the vortex, of pure movement. You expect stillness, but the math gives you motion. It's a total inversion. And the text argues this isn't a mistake. It's the entire point. It's not a bug, it's a feature. The entire philosophical punchline of this whole cosmic blueprint is pretty much summed up right here in this one quote from the source. So what this means is that this 9 to 6 flip is supposedly the actual mechanical origin of free will. Think about it. If the soul room resolved to 9, it would be static, finished, perfect.
But by resolving to 6, it becomes inherently restless. It has to move. And it's that very friction, that restlessness, that allows a pilot to actually grab the wheel and steer. Free will isn't just some philosophical idea. In this system, it's a mathematical necessity.
Okay, so all of that is pretty abstract, right? Cosmic math, a soul room? But what if I told you this whole system tries to anchor itself into something we use every single day? How does this cosmic engine connect to something as simple as a calendar? So the text lays out this really specific calculation to ground the system in time. It starts with a 364-day lunar year. Then it makes this claim that there are 48 dimensions or layers of reality happening every single day. You multiply those together, and you get 17,472. Now, that is incredibly close to our master number. But it's not a perfect match. The engine is just slightly out of sync. So how do you fix that drift? Well, to close the gap and get the whole system in tune, it needs what the text calls days of rest. And specifically, it needs 5 of them over a 4-year cycle, which, sounds an awful lot like our leap day system. These aren't just extra days. They are essential calibration moments for the entire machine. And here it is. This is where it all just snaps into place. When you factor in those 5 rest days to the total cycle, the math closes perfectly. 48 dimensions multiplied by what is effectively 369 days, and the result is exactly 17,712. The big takeaway here, according to the source, isn't just that the math is neat. It's that the universe itself is built on the principle of rest and reflection. These Sabbath days, they're the still points. They are the moments of recalibration that literally keep the whole system from spinning out of control. Without them, the perfect harmony of 17,712 would be lost. So what we've looked at is a complete system. The numbers are all laid out, the engine is described, and it even calibrates with our own reality. Which brings us to one final and maybe the most powerful question of all. The text doesn't actually answer this. It just leaves us with this thought to chew on. All the mechanics are there, the machine is humming along, and free will is literally built into the fabric of the soul room. So if that's true, why do so many of us feel more like passengers than pilots? It's a really provocative question to end on, one that turns this entire cosmic blueprint into something deeply, deeply personal.